I feel like so many times in the Serie A this season, the fixtures, they fail to live up to everybody's expectations, in particular mine. Like, how many times have you gone into a game week, sat telling yourself, "Ooh, this is going to be a good game"? Fails to live up to expectations. Atalanta Inter, it lived up to my expectations. I feel like that was a blockbuster of a game. It had everything. It had goals. It had sending offs. It had some controversy. It had everything. It had two teams going at it. Two teams with the motive in the back of their heads. We are trying to make history. We are trying to defy the odds. Atalanta, they've never won the Scudetto. Gasperini, he's never won a major trophy in Calcio, in Italy. Simone Inzaghi, he's trying to break a 15-year curse. Now, what is the 15-year curse? Inter, the last time they went back-to-back for Scudettos was 2010. So he sat telling himself, listen, business end of the season, listen, my players are back. They're not injured like they once were 2-3 months ago. Listen, Napoli have just dropped points to Venezia. This is my chance to get that cushion on Napoli, on Atalanta, and on top of everything, when you beat a competitor in the title race, it gives you that boost. It gives you that confidence. It instills that belief, because I'm a firm believer in winning any major trophy, winning any Scudetto. It's hard, it's competitive, it's difficult. But to do it back to back says a lot about your manager, because in order for you to win a trophy back to back, the manager has to be able to rally the troops. The manager, most importantly, has to be able to reinvent his squad. Now, some managers reinvent with reinforcements. They sign new players. Some managers reinvent themselves by deploying new tactics. Some reinvent by introducing one or two or three new principles. It's all about reinventing yourself. It's all about making sure the opposition see something completely different from the team they saw last year. But it's about rallying the troops. It's about telling the players, don't get complacent. Don't get comfortable. Don't take your foot off the gas. We have to get up and go again. And I feel like, I've said it before, like this isn't the Inter team of last year's Scudetto, but I feel like this season they've been disrupted a lot with injuries to key integral players. Calhanoglu in and out. Marcus Thuram, integral player, and we all know how integral he is to Lautaro. Martinez. The injuries, DeMarco is currently out, but this is an Inter team that I feel like they've won. At times, they've had to crawl themselves back from the dead, but they've won. And this was a game, this was a massive game to secure 3 points. And I feel like it was a performance of champions. I feel like it was a performance that looked at a competitor in its own home and told them, you're no match for us. You can't do what we can do. And I'll be honest with you guys, there was a moment in that game where I was like, this is the difference between a competitor and a champion. A reigning champion, a future to be champion, back to back. Now, if we were just to look at the first goal, it comes from a set piece, it comes from a corner, it comes from Calhanoglu, a dead ball specialist. But I feel like it caught Atalanta out cold, especially after what had happened in the crowd. There was like a 6-7 minute break. I feel like it caught them by surprise. But listen, that's what top teams do. They pounce, they capitalize on the opportunity. They always say in football, you need the physical element, you need the technical element, you need the mental element. You need to be able to lock in for 100 minutes. You never know. It might be 5 minutes at a time in the first half, 5 minutes at a time in the second half. You need to be locked in from the first whistle to the last whistle. And I feel like Atalanta, they weren't locked in once that corner was taken. Carlos Augusto puts it into the back of the net. It gives Inter that cushion. But where it helped Inter is, and this is where I looked at Simone Inzaghi and I was like, you got it bang on the money. I feel like he knew. Atalanta, they don't respect anybody. They play their football. They push their entire team in the opposition half. They press relentlessly. They literally mount all the pressure that they have available to themselves. When you go 1-0 up at Atalanta, do you know what Atalanta are about to do? They're about to speed things up. They're about to start piling everybody in your half. They're about to start creating those overloads. They are going to non-stop press you. And this is where I looked at Inter and I was like, this is a performance of champions, because 10 minutes after that goal, Inter only got into Atalanta's half 4 times. Yes, I sat down, I counted it 4 times. You know what they done? They just kept bouncing the ball left, right, right, left, forwards, backwards. They just kept moving it about. And so many people might be sat telling themselves, what are you doing? Why don't you go and try and score a second? They knew Atalanta were coming for the kill. Atalanta were desperate to get back into the game. Atalanta were desperate to win the game. Listen, if they can't win the game, they don't want to lose the game. They would rather go for a draw just to keep themselves in the Scudetto title race. That 10-15 minute period where all Inter done was just pass it around, pass it around, pass it around. They killed the sting of the whole game. Killing the sting of a game is such an important attribute in football. It's an attribute that you can't measure, that you can't quantify on a stat sheet. It's all about watching the game, and you see the frustration in the Atalanta players. You see them now committing more and more forwards, and guess what? The more they commit, the more gaps in behind that open up. I loved it when I saw Inter do it, because I was like, this is how an experienced team performs. And seeing as we're speaking about experienced players in this team, we have to speak about Acerbi, 37 years old. 37 years old. Listen, it's like they say, some players, they age. They age like wine. They age to perfection. When it comes to Acerbi, you look at his performance. 19 defensive actions. Guys, I'm not joking. 19 defensive actions. No matter what was thrown at him, this 37-year-old, he came out on top. He came up against Serie's top goal scorer in Retegui, and he made him look nothing special. He didn't allow him to have any shots. He didn't allow him to create any half yards. He didn't allow him to showcase the X factor in the final third. He had him in his back pocket. 19 defensive actions. It's impressive. 92% pass accuracy, 7 out of 10 duels won, and 6 passes into the final third. It's everything you want in a team competing for a title. It's everything you want in your centre half. One that can put out the fire, one that can smell the fire, one that can nullify opposition players, and one that can help you in progressing play. I feel like Acerbi, he was amazing, yeah. Especially during that period where Atalanta, there were moments where they were on top. Acerbi was there to put out the fire. And listen, I have to keep banging on. 37 years old. And when you look at the second goal, I feel like, once again, they caught Atalanta high up the field. The ball comes to Barella. Now, I love this. Outside foot. First time into Lautaro Martinez. Listen, when you get into those dangerous areas, don't dilly-dally. Don't overthink. They always tell you, like even in academies when playing football, when you get into those dangerous areas, you and the goalkeeper, you've got the goal in sight, put your foot through the ball. Strike it with confidence. Strike it with conviction. Connect with the ball. And I feel like he smashed it into the back of the net. Listen, business end of the season, this is where I feel like things like experience on the pitch stands out more. In-game management stands out more. In-game tactics stand out more. Mentality. Business end of the season, for me, it's all about mentality. Players that can handle the pressure. Players that can handle going away to a competitor. A team that they know if we lose to, we're shooting ourselves in the foot. To go away from home to a competitor. To a team that arguably has played the best football in the Serie for the past few years. To go there, beat them 2-0, nullify them, crush their dreams. It says a lot about Inter physically, a lot about Inter technically, a lot about Inter mentally. And for me, all of this instills from the manager. The team on the pitch is a representation of its manager. And for me, I'm a big fan of Simone Inzaghi because I feel like this season, you could see with Inter, he's reinvented them in a sense where, for me, last year, Inter were dynamic. They were very, very, very direct. When they picked up the ball, they straight away went in for the kill. You could see Imperials this season. At times, they've taken their foot off the gas and they've said, listen, we're just going to pass the ball around. We're not too eager for the second goal. We're not too eager for the third goal. What we want to do is tire the opposition. We want to drain them out. We want to force the opposition into our own half because we know if we go long into Marcus Thuram, that ball will stick to him. And I feel like as much as he could have had a better performance, I feel like where he helped Inter a lot is whenever they fizzed the ball into him, he held it up. He connected with Lautaro. Once them two start connecting and they hold on to the ball, it allows the whole team to push into the opposition half. For me, have I seen Inter play better? Yes, of course. But when I take into the context of things, Atalanta, Serie A competitor, away from home, all of the pressure on still being in 3 different competitions, the injuries this season, for me, it was a performance of champions. For me, it was a performance of a team that's ready to claim what's theirs and go back to back and break the 15-year curse. Now, if you're new, make sure to subscribe, make sure to hit the like button, make sure to let me know what you think in the comments, and I will catch you guys on another one.